Hi and welcome to Driver's Seat. Today we're looking at the Citroen C4 Picasso, Citroen's answer to the MPV. It's in its second generation and it's just had a midlife facelift, and this is it in 5-seat form. There's also a 7-seater. At the front it's got Citroen's latest styling with these chevrons extended around the LEDs. There's a new design for the headlights and a split grille, while the changes at the rear are even more minor and restricted to a revised chevron badge and these 3D effect lights, but the lights do make it feel a lot more modern. The looks are going to be a little bit Marmite. You're going to love them or hate them. I quite like them. It's different, it stands out from the crowd, but where it really does differ is inside. So let's have a look. But in here, this could split opinion even more than the outside looks. It's totally different, it's unique. There's no traditional instrument binnacle for me to sit and see my speed. It's over here in digital on this 12-inch panoramic screen. There's no gear lever in the middle. This is up on this wand on the steering column. It is very light and airy with these vision panels in the A-pillars, this huge rate screen, and this one has the panoramic sunroof. There's also plenty of storage in the door. I've got a big storage bin, got this drop down compartment here with USB connectors, and then this central island. Slide that back and it's huge, and there's plenty of space in there for your bits and bobs. There's a couple of cup holders up front. But what is unique, it's removable and you can take it and carry it away like it's a fashion accessory. I'm sure they're all carrying this in Paris right now. But let's be fair, the idea of an MPV is to keep the little ones in the back entertained and the bigger ones in the front in comfort. The massaging seats help, whilst the passenger seat reclines like a first-class airplane seat. So let's see what treats are in store for those in the back. In the back there are 3 individual seats with adjustable headrests. I'm sitting quite high up, but I've got enough headroom left. They're also slidable and tiltable, so I can go forward and back. As these airline style trays, but my knees don't quite work with them, so they're better with smaller children. Protect your young ones from the sun with the retractable sunscreens. There's also some underfloor storage where you can keep your valuables, maybe some DVDs to entertain the kids. Having said all that, I'm quite squeezed over to the right hand side, so it's quite narrow to get these 3 individual seats in, which surely goes against the point of it. So these dominating screens really control everything in here for you. There's so few buttons, there's 3 and then these 6 shortcut buttons. So I control my ventilation through here, which is touchscreen, so up or down, auto, faster, slower. I've got navigation, which is pretty simple to use. I've got music, telephone, car settings and apps. Now this big screen at the moment's simplified, but I can change that as well by pushing the end of this column. So that's changed to trip computer. I can change it to navigation, which is a nice big easy to follow screen, and also means you're not taking your eyes too far from the road to read and see where you're meant to be going. And then a personalized section, which can be whatever you want. I've got a small sat nav and a revometer. So let's see what this thing's like on the road. The C4 and C4 Grand Picasso come in 3 trim levels: Touch, Edition, Feel and Flair. There's then 5 engines to choose from, 2 petrol and 3 diesel. The petrols are a 1.2 litre 3-cylinder, while the diesels, there's 2 versions of a 1.6 and the range topping 2 litre. This is the more powerful 1.6 diesel in range topping flare trim, and is available on the road for £27,000, but there's about £2,000 of equipment on this, so it's just under £29,000. So flare trim gets front and rear parking sensors, the 18-inch alloys, sat-nav and panoramic sunroof that we've spoken about, as well as a reversing camera and park assist. It's easy enough to get comfortable in here. There's a pump lever to adjust your seat height and a rotary dial for the backrest. The steering wheel also adjusts for reach and rake. You get plenty of headroom and visibility is phenomenal. The clamshell opening for the boot means it's a big, wide, easy space to use, so helping loading and unloading. There's a flat floor, but little underneath the floor, just a space-saving tyre. The boot light doubles as a torch, which is a really nice, neat trick. The C4 Picasso is 537 litres of boot capacity, which is pretty decent in its class. It's only the Zafira, Vauxhall Zafira, that has it beaten at 710 litres, but this outdoes a Renault Scenic quite easily, which has 506. So this higher powered 1.6 diesel develops 118 brake horsepower and 221 pound-feet of torque. It'll do 0 to 60 in 11.2 seconds and emits 111 grams of CO2. Now it's meant to return about 65 miles to the gallon, but we've been averaging about 45 without trying too hard. This version comes with a 6-speed automatic gearbox, but there are 5-speed and 6-speed manuals available as well. This automatic gets steering wheel paddles, which feel quite plasticky and probably more at home on a PlayStation game than in a £30,000 car. The auto itself performs reasonably well. It's quite smooth changing gear, although it's not the quickest when you're doing manual up and down shifts. Performance-wise off the line, it feels rather sluggish, and that 11.2 seconds certainly comes into its own. However, if you're in the mid-range and want to overtake something, acceleration from 40 to 60 is really impressive, and you'll whip past whatever's in front of you no problem at all. The gearbox works in the same way as an automatic, but if you think normally you're pulling down from park, reverse, neutral, drive, it's just going from side to side, so you're going from park, reverse, neutral, drive. And after the first few tries, it's quite intuitive. You actually just do it with your fingers rather than sitting there and doing it and taking your hand off. It starts to become quite lazy with it. Climbing into a big Citroen, you'd hope for a relaxing, comfortable ride, but this just fails to deliver. At lower speeds and on smaller undulations, it's really fidgety, it's constantly bouncing around. Whilst the soft suspension means that as you go into a corner, it rolls away from you, and then as you straighten up, it comes back in pitches from side to side. So it's neither comfortable nor sporty, which is, I think, a real letdown for Citroen on this vehicle. This has 18-inch alloy wheels, which may not be helping, but shouldn't be this bad. It's not even saved by good damping. It sort of wallows up and down over several bumps like you're going across softer turbulence. In fact, that airplane seat's now making a lot more sense. The steering setup's by far the most successful part of driving the C4 Picasso. There's more input at lower speeds and it's light, so it's easy around town, and then those inputs become less as you go faster, so it feels more secure. It's quite accurate as well. Despite the lack of comfort, it is easy to drive, but it feels huge. Because of all this glass surround, you feel like you're almost in virtual reality than driving a car. Cruising down the first road, you approach an oncoming vehicle and fear for the impact, because it just feels like you're spread across the whole road. Whereas as a matter of fact, it's pretty much the same width as a Volkswagen Golf and only 20 centimeters longer. So that feel of space is very well done by Citroen. The engine's quite gruff at start-up and around town, although at higher speeds it does become a little bit more refined. What you will notice is at 60-70 miles an hour there is a hissing from the front pillars from the wind whistling by. There's also some suspension noise over bigger bumps, but that's not too invasive. The Citroen C4 Picasso will win a lot of fans for the way it looks, how individual it is, that French design flair. But that hard ride and that lack of body control really lets it down and just takes it away from being an automatic choice to a has-run. Let us know what you think about the C4 Picasso, and remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel for free, and thanks for watching.